Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm David Sherry. I'm a coach to founders and creators, and today I want to talk with you about burnout. Burnout is something that is super common that I discuss with the founders and creators that I work with, and so I thought today I would talk about what are some early signs that you can recognize that maybe make you start to feel like, hey, I'm actually headed down the path of burnout. And if you recognize some of those signs, what are a few tips that you can do? What are some things that you can do to respond to this path that you might be on? Now, it helps to understand the way that I view burnout. And I've had some really serious burnout in my life, one that led to an illness that took me maybe a month to recover from back in maybe 2016, right in the height of running my startup. And so I've had different experiences with different levels of burnout. And the first thing to understand is that it is a spectrum. Yes, there might be a moment in time where you just cross some horizon and you are blaring lights burn out. However, it's also the case that we are typically in more of a varying degree of burnout. And we're either kind of heading upwards and towards the right, which is I have more energy every day, I have more enthusiasm every day, I'm feeling excited and full about my work, or we're kind of heading down into the right and I'm feeling more constrained, I'm feeling more avoidant, I'm feeling more under pressure. And it's only when that kind of continues and persists that we really hit that moment of burnout. So, what are some signs that might be telling you, hey, I am headed down the path of burnout? And if you've ever had a conversation with me in a coaching capacity before, you know that awareness is something that is super important. So, starting to build these gauges for yourself is going to be really crucial in understanding your own body, your own needs, your own mental state, so that you can become aware of, when am I seeing this certain gauge start to redline? When am I seeing something on my dashboard flash its lights and tell me, hey, you might want to take a pause and change your approach right now because you're headed down a bad path? Let's go over a few different ways you might understand that you're headed towards burnout. Now, the first one is avoidance. If you find yourself avoiding things more and more, whether it's the small tasks on your inbox, whether it's the things in your personal life, it's you're wanting to cancel meetings all the time, that's a sign that you are simply feeling like you can't handle things that maybe a month ago would have been no big deal, but suddenly something's different and you just feel like, hey, that feels like this giant thing that I have to take on, even if it's small. Number two is when your personal habits really start to slip. Maybe your sleep is starting to feel really off. Maybe that meditation habit you kept for a long time is no longer happening. Maybe you're late night snacking and you find yourself binge eating at the end of the day because you're so stressed. If your habits really start to feel off from what you were previously able to do in an easy way, maybe just a month or 2 months prior, that's another sign that something is off balance, that something is happening with your day-to-day energy, and now you're incapable of keeping up with some of the different things that would have been easy before. Now, the last one is when you start to feel, this is a really serious sign, but when you start to feel incapable of even some of the basics of your own ability just to take care of yourself. I remember there's this app that was super popular at one point, maybe it still is. I think it was called something like Sprout, and it was just a way for people who were dealing with anxiety to check in that they had enough water during the day, that they took their shower, that they brushed their teeth. Now to me is a blaring sign of burnout, is when you're really struggling to do even some of those basic things. And that might be the point where it's really a good idea to talk to somebody else or to develop some type of plan or support so that you can get back on track. Now, if we're to respond to burnout, we need to understand what it is. My definition of burnout is that what happens is we continue to have our bucket of energy, this energy that we have every day, get drained more and more day after day until it's just completely empty. And what that means is that when we're doing our work or our tasks or things in our personal life, we simply have it's like having no gasoline in the car. Like there is just fumes that we're running on. And it means we just have no energy for anything, be it personal or professional. And in this way, the simple solution for burnout is to do things that are going to give you more energy than they take. Now, that sounds like a really basic thing to say, but we all know that there's parts of our lives that are energy giving. There's even work that we can do where we feel in flow and it gives us some energy back. And so if you play a game, oftentimes you leave feeling like you've got more energy than when you went. If you catch up with a friend and you have a great conversation, you leave that feeling energized. Sometimes with our work, whether it's writing or making videos, you might leave that task feeling fulfilled. And in that way, you're actually adding back to that gas tank, that energy tank for yourself in the day. And so the best thing you can do is start to identify just a few things that do that for you. Maybe it's taking some space, going on a long hike, having some alone time. Maybe it's catching up with a friend. For me, I love to go to the movie theater. It's dark, it's quiet. I can kind of just zone out. I can really get into the movie. And that's something that really helps fill my gas tank back up. That is the question you need to answer for yourself. What are the activities? What are the things that I can do where I get more energy back than what I give? The flip side is the thing that created the burnout in the first place. What happens when I don't have enough activities during my week, enough aspects of my work that are energy giving and instead are energy taking? That is a surefire way over some period of time to get into a burned out state. So if we're really to have a sustainable career, a sustainable life, we need to make sure that there's something during our week, a few times a week, a few habits, a few aspects of our work that are energy giving back. Otherwise, we will continually be drained and we'll be on the brink of burnout, which, trust me, from my own experiences with that, you really don't want a serious case of burnout. That really just takes the same concept I'm talking about, but it takes a longer time to recover. So if you have serious burnout, it might be that you need, not just going to the movies, not just taking a solo hike, but maybe you need a few days of hiking. You need a few days of just binge watching movies, whatever it might be, because you just need more time to recover and fill that tank back up. Anyways, that's it. If you have any ideas for what signs you start to notice when you see burnout start to arrive, feel free to add them in the comments below. If you have any tricks for getting out of that state and heading back up into the right with more energy and more passion and filling that gas tank back up, leave them below. And as always, I'll be back again very soon with a new video. Thanks.